And I guarantee you a year from now, we're going to be glad we did this. We're going to be very glad because we're going to win this thing in November, not just in the primary in June, which is an important first step, but we're going to win this thing in November, and we're going to take back Santa Fe for sanity and for some sobriety and fiscal responsibility. I'm running not because of all the things that are wrong with New Mexico, but because of all the things that are right about New Mexico. And the things that we can do if we focus on the right things, on job creation, on real job creation. You know, more state jobs does not economic development make. Just because you put somebody to work for the state, it might create an income for them, but it's overhead for the state. And they've got to learn that they've got to produce. The reason the stock market is healthy right now is because companies have learned that in this economic climate, they've got to watch their bottom line. And so profits are good. They've shaved back. Their unemployment is high. And how can those two things exist at the same time? Companies are learning to do more with less. Government needs to learn to do more with less. My parents taught me that when you leave someplace that you've been, that you should leave it in better shape than you found it. I was taught to clean up after myself. And I'm sure that all of your parents instilled those same values in you. But that's not happened in Santa Fe in the last 8 years. We got budget deficits that are out of control for two reasons. We've overspent, and we've had a smoke and mirrors shell game with revenue estimates. And Representative Larrañaga's back here. He sits on the Tax Appropriations Committee. He knows this. Agency morale, the state agencies, is at an all-time low. People are not happy. The relationships are strained. The administration has clearly used the office to posture and not to protect. And I'm quite frankly going to stand in this spot today and tell you that we're going to change that. We're going to change that in the next 4 years. It's come at the expense of communities and our citizens. We've hit a pretty serious bump in the road. But I'm running for this office because New Mexico needs a strong but thoughtful and caring hand to guide her through getting over that bump in the road, and it's a big bump. But we're going to do that. My first passion is my family. I've always lived my life knowing that the mark I leave behind reflects on who my family is, and I've always wanted to make them proud. And I think we've done that to a large extent, and I want to keep doing that. And I still try hard to make my family proud. I think about my mother every day. I think about my father every day, who's been dead since I was 12. But I want to make them proud. Second, it's my business, and it's very important to me to treat my customers and my employees with the utmost respect that they deserve. And I think we do that as well. I think it's a fun place to work. Third, my community. I know that it's really important to give back to your community, and a community has blessed us richly, and we're very, very thankful. But it is important to give back, and I think if we all took a little bit more posture in giving back to our community, we would come out of this thing a little quicker and a little stronger. So we live our life knowing that that there's things that we're supposed to do. People have asked me, well, why not Congress? Why not governor? For a lot of reasons. Some of them very personal, some of them more pragmatic. And I think it's the pragmatism that probably rules for me in saying that this is my spot, and this is where my talents will be best used, and this is where I can serve the state of New Mexico, and that's what I plan to do. First thing, thank you. First thing on the agenda, it's all about jobs. We've got to create a business environment that creates jobs. Second thing is energy policy. We've got to be real about energy policy. Right now, there are groups in Santa Fe that are meeting to discuss a cap or a tax on businesses for CO2 emissions. They want us to 20% lower than, I think, 10-year-old standards. Is that right, Maureen? 20% lower than 10-year-old standards in an environment where CO2 I didn't think was a harmful thing. I thought that's what plants needed. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist. But there's groups out there that actually want to finish killing off the oil and gas industry and finish killing off any other industry that might want to come to New Mexico and take advantage of what we have and we know that we can produce. I think there's a balance between science and nature and sustainability and making it work for the good of the community. And I think we can find that balance without being just absolutely absurd and putting everybody out of work and being crazy about it. So that's the thing we're going to look for. And fair tax policy. We need fair tax policy. We all know that we have to pay for the streets and the roads and the services, but let's manage this thing a little bit different. Let's find out what we don't need and stop spending that money. You know, I mean, that's what we do at home. It's called zero-based budgeting. If you don't have the revenue, you find ways to live with less and do more things with less money. The third thing, and probably the most important, is there's been a lack of respect for the customers. There's been a lack of respect for the taxpayers in Santa Fe. And I plan to bring that back to the office as well in a big way. And our suppliers, the other vendors that we work with, people in healthcare. We just need to bring that respect back up to a level that we know who's paying our bills and we know why we're doing the work. So that's me in a nutshell, folks. Again, I'm just honored and thrilled to have such a turnout here today. It's great to see some friends and some faces I haven't seen for a long time, and some of you I don't even know yet. And for you to come out and support me is very, very gratifying. And again, I'll close by saying in a year, we're going to be very glad we did this, because we're going to take back the 4th floor in Santa Fe and we're going to shine the light of truth on what's been going on. We're going to manage it a lot differently. Thank you so much.